Welcome back to Strong's Little Farmhouse. Last week we were able to get the ground level and the gravel spread in the spot where we're going to be pouring our concrete pad. Today we're going to be building the forms for the pad and tamping the gravel. It feels so good to be making progress on building our barn. Okay, we're so excited because we're finally getting started with the framing. Yay! So the first thing we're going to do are the two ends. We're doing 24 by 36. So this has to be 24. So we have two 12-foot 2x6s that we have to marry up in the middle. And we're going to use a 2x4 8-foot as a whaler board that does a couple of jobs. One is it's going to marry up these two boards, right? Join them together. Also, it's going to give it some strength so when the concrete is poured and presses up and has weight against that board, it's not going to blow out and let concrete go all over the place. So this is going to give us extra structure. So first thing we got to do is find the center of our whaler board. So 8-foot board, so a 4-foot center line, just like that. That's all the measuring we got to do. First we have to make these two boards flush up here, and we want them straight. So we're using a level, just like that. That looks good. This board goes on here, center line right there, and flush up with the edge. We're using a 3-inch coarse drywall screw that has, you can see it's got lots of teeth, which gives us lots of bite and strength in the wood and not go through to the other side. So put this right here. Let's see if I can do it perfectly. Not perfectly, but look at that. It's beautiful. One more. Okay, so now that's secure. I'm gonna pull this up tight and then do this side. How's that looking? I think that's good right there. Oopsie doodle. Oopsie doodle. That's a technical term. All construction guys use it. Beautiful! Looks good. Before we do the center section, we're going to go down and secure the other end so everything's nice and straight. Nice. All right, now while I'm down here, I'm going to do the center section for extra sturdybility. Sturdybility, is that a word?
It is now.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure I read it in the homeowner's DIY construction manual. Sturdybility.
It's right up there with strategery.
Everyone knows that's a real word. Okay, other end, and we're done. Yep, all flush. It's good to go. All right. I think we've done it. Okay, let's go put this in place. Once the forms for the ends were in place, we got started tamping, but we didn't take the time to make the 36-foot side forms, which may have been a mistake. I am so excited. We are on the next phase of finishing this concrete pad. So we got the gravel all spread out, fairly level with a few bumps here and there. But Mark is now using a plate Tamper we rented from Home Depot. And this is actually his third time around. It really does the job super fast. And it's making a really nice, tightly packed gravel. The machine has a little sprayer, so it puts a little moisture down on the rocks, which really does help in the keeping the dust down and helping the rocks compact tighter. Mark said one thing about these Tampers is they pretty much have a mind of their own. It takes a little bit of finesse to sort of dance with it. If you try to force a corner too much, it just digs in instead of smoothing things out. Well, we've run into a little bit of a conundrum, sort of one of those catch-22s. We didn't want to put up the frame boards because the Tamper is so heavy. We didn't want to get the frame out of square or break the frame or anything trying to lift that thing over it, so we didn't make the frame first. However, because we didn't make the frame first, we didn't know that not all the gravel was level. Some of it had little humps. So, what we're doing now is we're going to build the frame and put string lines across for level, dig out the gravel where it's too high, and fill in the super low spots, which we should have done before we tamped. But we didn't want to break the frame. So you see how it kind of catch-22. Anyway, it just is what it is, but another learn from our mistakes. The Tamper is going to bring it down, but not as much as you think. It's just going to tighten it. Right?
Right.
Okay, so we're off to see the wizard. No, we're off to build some frames.
We're off all right. Off our rockers.
For sure. That's true.
Yeah, good.
You do look good. All right, so you're so demanding.
I know.
I got you the nails, I got you the level, I got you the board.
You're awesome.
As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, we're doing the same thing as we did with the two end pieces, but now we've got to do 36 feet. So we highly recommend an impact driver for doing this part of the board. When you're going through two 2x4s with screws, go ahead and do it.
Go ahead. Okay.
That
Except for when the battery dies.
ah.
That would have been impressive. Whoops.
So an impact driver makes driving a 3-inch screw through two 2x4s super easy and efficient. Do it really good, Mark. Just like that.
Like butter.
Perfect every time. Okay, so here you can see we've got the 36-foot side done. Each section is an 8-foot 2x6 with a 4-foot 2x4 as a whaler board. The last thing is to add the 4-foot 3 inches here, but we're not going to do that right yet. We're not going to add that 4-foot piece yet because we're going to allow this side for moving the tamper back into the gravel, but we'll have the bulk of everything leveled out after we rake and shovel more gravel. Whew, this is a never-ending process, I tell you. But this is the part of DIY. Muscle, sweat, equity. That's how we can afford to do it and make such a larger barn than what we could afford to just buy and have somebody else build. So, put on our big girl pants, get the work done. So we're taking a string line, which you can't see. We're running across here to find how high the gravel is to the line. And we keep having to move gravel, but it is really working. We've leveled all that out much better. We've got only a third left to go here, and we're gonna bring the tamper back in, flatten it all out, and then we're done, right?
I hope so.
Okay.
There was so much gravel to move and it was so hot outside. We set ourselves up a little cooling station with a pop-up tent and a fan running and our water so that we had a place to take some shade and cool down. We had a pretty good system set up. We would rake out the gravel until we got it to the level we wanted, move the line down the boards, rake out some more gravel, and then head for the shade to catch our breath and cool down before we started the process all over again.
This is a learning experience. We just were so tired of moving gravel and dirt and ground, and so we thought we had it good enough, but we didn't. So now we're paying for it in this hot sun, but we are not spending another $85 for another day of rental. We have got to get this done today. And now today, after we have raked out a little bit more, well, not a little bit more, woo! We raked a lot of gravel, but we definitely did a much better job of getting it level. And you can really see the difference between this first couple of passes with the tamper and the last one. I can't believe it. We're done. Look at that. Flat, level, tamped, framework up. Well, most of the framework. We still have a little corner right there to do, but we have it all ready to go, and just in time because the wind is picking up, the clouds are moving in, and we are about ready to have a rainstorm. Woohoo! Once this storm passes, we'll finish the framing, lay out the rebar, and start pouring the concrete. And we're well underway to building the barn. Yes! We learned a lot along the way. Learn from our mistakes. Don't get too ahead of yourself with the tamping. Get the frame in place before you try to tamp. Also, make sure you have your gravel almost level. I really thought the tamper would help get the bumps flat, but it really doesn't. It just tightens it wherever it is. So if you've got a thing like this, you end up with a thing like this, just tight. And then it's really hard to rake out the holes.
Really hard.
Yeah. So use extra lines, extra levels, extra double checking to make sure your gravel is below the grade enough where you want it, right? I think that's the biggest lesson we took from this, because it was a lot of work to rake up that gravel after it was tamped. And then we had to tamp again. And then we had to rent the tamper for 2 days, which was an extra $85. And that, things like that start to eat into your budget. So that would be our biggest lesson learned. Well, thank you so much for joining us at Strong's Little Farmhouse. If you made it this far in the video, you are a real fan, and we love you so much. Join us again for our next adventure when we start pouring the concrete. Yay!